So above are just few incessant echoes dominating the classes of 2020. With our apps turned to classroom, the entire teach and learning process has undergone capitulating transformation since the inception of the last semester. The delay in the curriculum may seem enthralling at the moment, but the clouds of uncertainty that it cast on the future of student and academics as a whole is an extraordinary issue that has to be considered. To address the same issue, we have Miss Falaknaaz Siddiqui, aka MissCalculia, who will be talking us today about this new normal. She is passionate about teaching math to kids. She has been working in a reputed school and organization since past 6 years, and now she has his own business of tutoring kids online. So, welcome Falak on our Charcha with A CoLab. Welcome.
Okay, thank you for having me. Hello.
So, if you could tell us, you have your Instagram page, name is Calculia. So you have started this whole movement on Instagram. So like you were already, you were talking about many things about online education. So like, what were the initial thoughts when this whole online education started to come up?
Okay, so initially, I think when this started, I remember I was working in an international school as a math teacher, and there was this whole tech team which had come to our school who was trying to explain it to us how to use Zoom. And that workshop, I think, lasted about like 1.5 hours. So I was just sitting there, and I remember the only thought which lingered in my mind the whole 1.5 hour was like, I'm not doing this. There is no way that I'm going to conduct a math class online. And guess what? Today, I just founded my own thing, and that is math online classes.
So like, what made you think that you won't be able to do it?
Initially, I had major camera issues, so even now I have it. I'm trying to recover and I'm trying to get good at it. So I know there are a lot of teachers whom I know, especially including me, that they are really dominating when it comes to actual physical classes. But when it comes to a camera, when they face a camera, they get really nervous.
Yeah, someone who is in late 50s or even in early 50s, for
Hmm.
them, this is a sudden transformation. Like
Yes.
they have to, from tomorrow onward, they have to start teaching online, and most of them don't even know how to use a smartphone. That's like
Yes.
one
And
of
not
the,
just, yeah,
yeah.
not just the older people, even the new teachers had a hard time just to get in front of the cameras.
So what all changes that you have to like change in your delivery pattern, and what all things you had to adjust while taking classes online?
Yeah, there were like many things. We had to redo everything, we had to relearn everything, and there were many obstacles which we faced, which we will be talking about today.
Okay, so like as a matter of fact, I know the school you
Hmm.
were working in, so they were the one of the pioneers to start online classes. So like what was the challenges in initial days?
Yes, so the school which I was working in, I remember, I think we were the first in the city which commenced with online classes. So, yes, I think the attendance was a major issue. Getting students in front of the screen was a major problem. Many of them didn't even take this seriously. Me, even as a teacher, didn't take it seriously. So, it was really strange for the students to come and sit in front of a camera and take classes from them. So, everyone thought that this is just a temporary solution and this will end soon and we will get back to our normal actual physical classes. So they didn't even bother to attend any of the classes.
So we already had a concept of audiovisual room and smart
Hmm.
classrooms and all. So, but
Hmm.
like student were spending times on rather than seeing on a blackboard, they were seeing on a computer screen or a audiovisual screen. But
Hmm.
at that time also, teacher were at least the teacher was present to control the classroom.
Yes.
In this scenario, you are seeing like they are on their screen, and so how you were able to control them?
Yeah, that was one major issue. Like as you said, audiovisual classes and the other technologies were being used before this whole corona pandemic thing happened. So some of the teachers were a little tech savvy, but when this whole Zoom thing came and we had to do everything online, that became difficult, and we had a lot of challenges in that.
So, like, how did you manage to bring students to the screen, and like, how long did it take?
So many of the students, as I said, they were not serious at all about this online classes, and they were not attending at all. So we had like zero attendance. I remember sitting in my school and I had to take a class online, and we were waiting them for 40 minutes, and there was no student. Like there was zero participants. So getting the attendance was an issue. And how did we do it? We had to really talk to the parents, we had to counsel the students, and we had to explain them that this is not your corona vacation. This is actual school which cannot stop due to a global pandemic. So we had to talk to them, we had to explain them that we need to continue this. This will go on for at least maybe a month or two, depending on the
Yeah, like
situations and what the government has to say.
this is like this is not something like a summer classes or they were
Yeah,
thinking of
this
sort. So how did you manage, like, in all the classrooms we have backbenchers who are the main like culprit and who are the main like minds behind all this mischievous activities in the classroom. So how did you manage? How did you control them?
So, as a matter of fact, I think as a teacher, like I know that controlling students offline is much more difficult than controlling students online, because in online you have an option to just mute them or stop the video. Like you have more control online. Like in reality, where it's offline, you can't just mute a student actually. So, we knew how to control students when it came to online because it was rather easier than physical classes.
I think one more thing would have happened. So what was like before this all this? So when the classroom the lectures were conducted in the classroom, I think the parent would have been at that time parent would have been complaining more about like teachers are not teaching properly. My student is attending but is not able to learn properly. But since this like all these online classes, students are learning, they are attending the lectures in their home in front of their parents. So I think
Yes.
parents would now in this phase, parents would have understand better like what is the capacity of their children, or like yeah, how much they can grasp or grasping ability.
Yeah, that's very true, because earlier there was a gap between the teachers and teachers and the parents. The parents used to think that there is nothing going on in the school and the teachers are maybe not doing their jobs perfectly. So there were always, like, most of them had complaints regarding to the teacher. But when we were teaching online, the parents were actually sitting with the students. They were supervising them, they were looking and watching everything what the child is doing, and then they also came to know that the efforts which the school and the teachers were putting. So I have seen many parents actually sitting just right beside the child, and they also appreciated. They started telling teachers that you all are doing a really good job, and then the complaints kind of went down.
So like importance of teacher, like they have understood.
Yes, yes.
So
Thankfully, the importance of the teachers increased.
okay, that would be one of the good thing came out of this. So you as a teacher had been vocal about fee payment debacle. So what was the finally decided, and how did the paying the fee and the salary to the staff went by?
Yes. So during this whole online classes thingy, there was a plea which was filed in the Supreme Court by the parents of different students from different states of the country, and they were demanding a deferment in the payment of the fees of, like, the school which were charging. Like, honestly, I know there are some schools, like there were some schools in my city which were charging the whole fees, like which included infrastructure, it had the tuition fees and a lot of other things. So the full fees were being charged by the parents, which is unfair, right? So then the
Also,
Supreme Court summoned them, and they were being advised only to charge the proportionate fees, which is actually the expenditure of online classes. So what happened was, due to this, all the parents were waiting for the Supreme Court to give a decision on the fee payment. So they took a back seat on payment of the fees. So the school did not have fee
Funds,
collection.
yeah.
The funds were not there for a lot of time, and this resulted in prolonged fees of the teachers. Maybe some got deducted salaries. Many of the teachers did not even get salaries for a few months. So what happened was the management and the principal, they started pressurizing teachers and other staffs to ask the parents if they could pay the fees on time.
Like all the different tactics were used to get the
Yes,
praise from parents. And like
yes,
yeah, like teachers would also be pressurized in this current scenario when there is nothing, like no job outside, people are being fired. So teacher would have also thought, ki, yeah, at least we have something and we should, I think, continue. And like
yes.
the yeah, COVID has impacted many, each and almost all the sectors, job sectors.
Like,
Uh,
you want me to give you examples like how it happened? Like there were teachers, like including my school, now that the school knows that it's a pandemic and the teachers can't go out, so we can't really interview for other places. And we were like constantly pressurized. We had to do the academics, we had to do the fee structure also, we had to do a lot of other things. So the role of teacher increased tremendously, and we knew that we can't go out, so we don't have that many job opportunities, so we can't even quit the school. So we were like in a dilemma whether to continue doing this, take the stress, or maybe wait for the situations to get
Yeah,
settled.
yeah. And like when we talk about that, so you were the teacher, so you were like the requirement of school also in terms, because
Hmm.
without teacher, school wouldn't run in this, even it's a
Yes.
offline or online thing. But
Hmm.
like the didis and the peons, they were I
Hmm.
think the most affected working
Hmm.
class in terms of education, because
Correct. True.
without them online classes can be conducted. They are not the essential,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think they are the most affected one by this, all this COVID and all.
Correct, true. So even the didis of our school, like I know personally many of them, and they stay where I stay, so we have a personal connection. So most of the didis which were working, the peons and the other staff, they were also working somewhere else, as a house help or something like that. So when the schools were closed, they had no option to go to house help and do something else, and even that was not being done in Corona. So I think they were also very, very affected, and they had to like go back to their native places or find something else to do.
How did the role of teachers change during this online teaching paradigm shift? Yeah, because it's a paradigm shift.
Yes. So I remember the first step, which like most of the schools took to this online education, was we were being trained to many of the workshops which were happening in the school. And I remember in one of the workshops, what I took was to first of all accept the change, then adapt to the change, and then finally maybe adore the change. So yes, all this was happening. And then earlier teachers used to just impart information, and we used to just give the knowledge to the students. But now teachers cannot just sit in front of a computer and keep on giving gyan to the students. We
Yeah,
became
obviously.
facilitators. So we were just there to guide and to help those students. If they need us, we will just explain them the concept, not keep on going on the banter of teaching. Also we were supposed to like be the full on technical guru, and we were supposed to know each and everything which was happening on every online platform available. So we were constantly looking out for different things to teach, and we were on WhatsApp, and we had our phones, and our screen times were all increased. So on a lighter note, I think this was the condition which every teacher faced through, and every teacher can relate to this. This was our situation.
Yes. So like how did the students adapt to these changes?
Yeah, students, I think it took really less time for the students to go digital than teachers, because students are obviously way
Yeah.
more smarter and they are tech savvy. So students were like really fast, and they were really, really good. And initially, what happened was when I was tutoring in the starting, I found that my students whom I was teaching in school, they were really well behaved, and they were focused and disciplined on the content which I was delivering. And obviously that was happening because they didn't have their friends in the background to distract them. Also, their parents were sitting, they were supervising them. So all this was going on. And then we as teachers found that there was an immense improvement in the grades of the students, especially the ones who were not doing so well in actual classes. There was an exponential growth. So we were like kind of shocked. Like all the teachers, we were wondering, how is this happening? We are not even present there, and students are actually performing better. There is an exponential growth. So we just started to think, and it was too good to be true. So this happened
So
in the
like
starting.
for
Then
that for that only I have my next question. Like so has the use of like obviously when it's something is too good to be
yeah,
true, then
I
there
know
is
where you're getting at. Yes,
so there is something fishy in that. So
yeah,
like
there is
in terms
something
of
fishy.
fishy means there is a malpractice, a plagiarism and all. So like
Yes.
yeah, if you could tell us on that.
So yes, definitely. We were just figuring out how the performance have been increased. So initially there was a genuine performance increase. There were students who were really doing well and they were forcing themselves to sit in front of the computer and be disciplined and learn. So there was good, that was good in the starting. But as we progressed, as time passed by, obviously students are really smart. So they found out, some of the students, not all of them, some of the students found out some ways or maybe some tactics, how to switch tabs in between. Maybe they could like, you know, some malpractices or maybe manipulating the teachers. So all that was happening. And I could see that there were some students who were coming up with crazy excuses, which I heard only during online classes. Like, for example, this one. This actually happened with me. I used to get excuses like this every day. Some or the other thing is happening, and we had to like combat them as teachers. So we also had to find out ways and strategies on how to reduce the malpractices.
So like I'm sure while shifting to the new system of teaching, there had been many obstacles for students and teachers. Could you name few challenges and obstacles which you faced?
Yes, definitely. There were like many, many obstacles, especially the rural areas. I teach in urban areas, so there were not many. But in rural areas, they were badly hit, like 43%. According to a survey which was done by online public schools, 43% of the students don't have resources
To
which
attend
are
that.
needed for online classes. So this happened with me. It's my personal experience. Where I used to teach, it was like a four like brother sisters, like there were four brothers and sisters and they were in the same house, and in that house there were only two phones, so one mother's phone and the other is father's phone. So all four of them used to attend online classes only from to those phones, and even their parents are working from home. So I used to get students in shifts. So that actually happened. So today the girl is coming and she's attending my lecture, and tomorrow she's not there. Then again she's coming, then she's not there. So when I asked her, why do you come alternately? So she says that my brother uses the same phone one day and then I use that phone the other day. So this used to happen. So
Yeah,
that was
obviously,
one of
like
the problems.
yeah, like getting a smartphone, parent has to pay at least 5,000, 4 to 5,000 to
Yes.
get a, and then on that he has to get an SIM card with an
Yes.
internet. So like all
Yes.
this cost and like in rural areas generally, if in a family of 6 to 7, there are only two or one, even one smartphone, and then other are
One. Yeah,
like
that's the
normal
situation.
Nokia and all China. So
Yes.
this is when having an online classes for them, that would have been like that is very much difficult. So
Yes, that was very difficult.
it's like an ulta when in a private school you
Hmm.
have students like there are like most of the students have their own mobile phone and all, but teachers are getting paid less because it's a private. And when
Yes.
we talk about the government schools, the students are
Hmm.
like from a lower economic background and they don't have that much facility, but teachers are getting very much good salary because
Yeah, that used to happen.
it's paid by government.
Yes.
Yeah. So like how did you overcome this issue? Are the institutions back to their game, or do you see some struggle going on in future?
So there were a lot of struggles, not just the resources. I think there were a lot of problems which we had to tackle. Like during all this, one of the reasons was like because there is so much distraction, there are four people in the same room studying in different corners. Not every student has a dedicated study
Yeah,
space,
break
right?
room.
So
Yeah.
there were a lot of distractions happening in the background. People were screaming, shouting. I, as a teacher, has have heard like really heard and seen really inconducive things in the background happening. So that used to happen. Students were not able to focus as well, and schools did not know if they would finish the portion on time, the time management. So a lot of boards had to cut down on the syllabus. That happened. And yeah, so these were some of the struggles which we faced. And honestly, the institutions which have the money, which have the infrastructure for the online classes are doing well. They have figured out their things, and they have streamlined a lot of things, and there are less hassles. But I think in the rural
But
area
yeah,
and
like,
in most of the schools,
but yeah,
in
like,
even in
yeah,
yeah.
like, like that's a cream layer of the society.
Hmm,
So, but we have a whole like whole 90% of our population, student
hmm,
population, who are
hmm.
struggling. And when you told us about
Yes.
like the conducive, all that things you heard and
Hmm,
all, I think for
yes.
them, for those students, school has been like going school would have been some relief point, and like they were more relaxed in school when as at their homes, because of their economic condition and because
Yes.
of their environment and like surrounding near their home. I think for them it would have been a real struggle, literally a real struggle for them.
Yes, many of them don't have a proper background, they don't have resources, and most of them are missing schools, and everyone is waiting when is this going to get over. Some of them have adapted, yes, but I think 73% of Indian schools are still struggling, and they don't know what to do. There is no plan. Online education has not even started. They're just waiting for this academic year to get over, and maybe from the next academic year they will get back.
So like in all this, Prime Minister Modi, like, and our
Hmm.
education minister
Hmm.
announced NEP, National
Yes.
Education Policy. So like, what do you think the future of education in India?
I think because of this NMP which you are talking about, the National Education Policy 2020, I think it is a great step in the phase of Indian education system, because that will help students decide their own subjects, what they want to study, and that will get things more streamlined. And yes, there have been students who are really self-driven, and I think I would like to say that when I was teaching online, I figured out there were two kinds of students. One was who knew that they can do malpractices, they can cheat. The ones who knew and like they gave up. Okay, online classes made there is nothing really happening, and there is no use of attending them, so they kind of gave up. But the other type of students which I figured out was the self-driven students. They knew that the situations are vulnerable, and they knew that there are total chances of them of cheating, but then still they decided and they took their own responsibility. They knew that they have to do things on their own. So they became self driven. They started pushing themselves. They started going on the internet, finding things, and studying on their own. Like there are many students like that, just like this one. Obviously, he's very young to download the entire college education, but yes, many of these kind of students knew, and many apps and websites also came into play where they were offering free education and free content for self-driven students.
I think like one of the good thing would have been happened is students researching on
Yes.
topics and like finding out their self study,
Yes.
self motivation, self study. I think those are the
Hmm,
words uh,
hmm.
to describe like the students. So like on the ending note, what message would you like to give the teachers and the students?
Okay, so the teachers and the students, on an ending note of message,
So
I
basically,
think
like more focused on the teacher and student on the struggle in 2020.
yes, yes. So I think everyone is waiting for the schools to start, and we are just hoping that everything gets okay. And yeah, so this is going to be the scenario in future. People will be, going back to school. Some of them will be happy, and some of them will be, sad that the facilities which online education used to give, sit back, relax, stay at home, is no more. Like you have to sit in a classroom and you have to be disciplined. So some of them will miss online classes. And I must say that the students of this year, students of 2020, were like a really special batch. Most of them have shown immense discipline, immense self control, grit, and character. Also, empathy for their teachers. Like many of them understood what teachers are going through and the new changes which we are making them comfortable, they were making us comfortable. And also the amount of love, and I miss you teacher messages, I miss the real class, had really gone up this year. Like, yes, like I used to get them more. Earlier it used to happen only on the teachers day, we used to get those kind of messages, but now every other day students are pouring their hearts out and they are telling us that they really miss school and they
I
appreciate
think
the efforts
I
which
think
we were doing.
I think when things would go to the normal, go back to normal, I think the first
Hmm.
1 month in a school would be smoother
Hmm.
because of this like after things being become normal. I think the first month in a classroom
Hmm.
would go smooth
Hmm.
because both have
Yes.
because like in current scenario both are missing, student and teacher both are missing each other. They have understood the
Yes.
importance of each other.
Yes, so definitely the importance have gone up, but it will take some time for us also to shift from online education to actual physical classes. Like we can't
Oh,
mute students now in actual. I was wondering whether my class control is still on point, or if I like if for example I was imagining I had this nightmare that day that I went to a class full of 50 students and I am not able to mute students and everyone is shouting from here and there. And I was really good at my class control earlier. So I'm just thinking whether that is going to be the same or will we find it difficult again to control students in real life.
getting back to pin drop silence.
Yes, yes.
Okay, yeah.
Also, the teachers of this uh, year have been amazingly doing really well. Like this explains what we have been going through this year. I can see a comedian in here. I can see like an
Yeah, teachers
entertainer,
have to
motivator.
teachers yeah, like for making student comfortable, teacher has to have wore many hats.
Yes. So we had to be a comedian. Like I remember the one of the problems which I used to face was like I'm very energetic when I'm in my class. So I use my hands a lot, I walk around and I go through the whole class when I'm actually teaching. But all that I can't do when I'm just restricted to a window, right? So I had like I could not teach with the same enthusiasm and the zeal which I used to do in my own classes. So to bring that back, I had to be a comedian. I had to entertain students. We constantly had to bring new ways to keep them engaged. So this is what was happening
Yeah,
with the
like
teachers.
yeah, for like yeah, like and this year had been very like it's been a very difficult year for the teachers and teachers like you who have like who came up with the innovative thoughts and
Hmm.
tried to make the students comfortable. I think
Hmm.
that's the way we should go forward in terms of teaching because like I think for teachers it's just that it's there's no better feeling than like no better way to get satisfied. It's just
Hmm.
when they understand we are like all students have learned something out of their classes. I think that's the most
Yes,
satisfactory thing for a teacher. Hmm.
true. That's true.
So Falak, I think so here we end. Thank you for
Yeah, I
being
think
the
on an ending note,
yeah.
I would like to show something to you. As I said, this year we have been receiving a lot of love and a lot of I miss you messages. And that is, as you said, one of the satisfactions which we get was that the students are understanding and they are taking away something from our classes. And the other kind of good thing and satisfaction which we teachers feel is the I miss you messages and the love which the students have poured to us, especially during this pandemic. So I have some photos which are actually taken from all over the world. They are from UNICEF, and there are students who are pouring love for their teachers. So this
Oh,
note, thank you, teacher. I miss you. Really cute. Then this is a child who's saying, dear teacher, thank you for inspiring me even during this lockdown. You're amazing. And look at the cute drawing he has done. And dear Teacher, thank you for being kind and sweet. So not just students were being kind, their parents were also
Yeah,
being kind, which made us to be more kind during this time. And thank you, teachers, for being our role models. And I must say that the students, some of the students are also my role models. I look up to them, the way they have adapted to the change, and they have pushed themselves and helped each other in this student teacher community was amazing. Then this is the last picture. Thank you, Wilvin and other staff, for all you do for us. And that's a big heart down there.
I think one of the biggest takeaway of this whole COVID-19 and all this thing is like the importance of
Yeah.
teacher, importance of students, importance of each other's role, like understanding the importance of that. That is the, I think, the biggest takeaway. All like the biggest thing that outcome of this whole online classes.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Yes.
thank you once
Thank you
again
so
for
much. It
coming
was
on.
lovely talking to you. I don't remember when was the last time I told whatever I felt. Like it is difficult for teachers to say their own feelings. We can't say the wrong things. We can't say so casually
Yeah.
and so candidly. So it was really fun taking out all my feelings with you, and I'm really happy that you invited me to talk to you.
Thank you. Yeah. Like let's hope we have
Thank
more
you.
collaborations with you in future. Thank you.
Thank you so much.